Hey guys, it's Alex, and today I'm here with a book review for Orphan Monster Spy by Killeen. This was recommended to me by Abby from Autumn of Pelennor, and I will link her channel down below. This is a young adult historical fiction novel about Sarah, who's a 15-year-old Jewish girl in Nazi Germany. While trying to escape in 1939, Sarah's mother is killed, and she's left on her own in Germany. A British spy saves her life, and then Sarah returns the favor by saving his. Eventually, she starts working for him as a spy as well, and goes undercover at a boarding school for the Nazis' elite youth. I gave this book 4 stars, and this is probably as high a 4-star can get without being 5, and it just barely didn't make it to that 5. I loved this. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. It sounds like it's a little bit too action focused for my taste because I do tend to much prefer slower books that deal with more character development than action and adventure. I don't pick up a whole lot of spy novels for that reason, but this was so well done. A lot of the time for me, books that focus heavily on action and adventure can feel a little bit formulaic. They can feel like they're focused too much on that, and the characters or the overall story just kind of fall behind as the focus is on the action. But this was wonderfully done. I thought Sarah's character was so well crafted, so well developed, and so interesting. I thought the same for the spy master who she's working for, and their relationship was really well done and really interesting. This was an utterly gripping book, and normally I do find action books to be quite boring and just dull in general, but this I didn't. I was enthralled from page 1. I just wanted to know what happened, what was going to happen, where Sarah was going from here. And I honestly didn't realize this was a series when I first picked this up. I just assumed it was a standalone. I generally much prefer my books to be standalones, but I actually went looking after finishing this book to see if there was going to be a sequel because I wanted there to be a sequel so badly. I, someone who much prefers standalones, wanted a sequel to this book because this was a book that deserved a sequel. It works as a standalone. It does have an end. It does have closure. But it has a story that could go on further, and I'm so glad it's going to. I'm definitely going to be picking up the sequel. Abby recommended this book to me specifically, and I was so glad she did. This was amazing. I think I read this in a day. I didn't want to put it down. It was so interesting and so compelling, and one of those books that just drew me in entirely. Pretty much the only issue I had with this, the reason I gave it 4 stars instead of 5, was that at times it did feel like a little bit too much. It felt like there was a little bit too much melodrama, a few too many problems thrown in, a few too many issues that I kind of felt like didn't need to exist. I would have rather had fewer issues and had the issues more well developed because there were some things at the end that felt just a little bit too over the top for me because I do kind of like my books more down to earth. And this was a little dramatic. It had a big dramatic climax that I don't tend to prefer. But even then, even saying I didn't like these things, it was fantastic. And that was kind of a minor problem for me. If you like YA historical fiction, if you like spy novels or action novels, I'd recommend this. This was fantastic. The quote on the cover says deeply disturbing and chillingly good. And I agree so much with that quote. It was just fascinating. It was dark, and it was a really interesting outsider look on what it's like to be part of the Nazi elite. Because Sarah is faking it. She's faking being a Nazi youth. She's faking being one of a Hitler youth, I believe they were called. She's faking knowing these songs and believing these things, and it's interesting. It's a really in-depth look on what they experienced at the boarding school and the hypocrisy that was held in a lot of Nazi circles. And overall, just I would highly recommend this. It was a really interesting take. I haven't read many books like this, probably because I don't tend toward action books, but this one was wonderful. I highly, highly recommend this book, and I'm so excited that there's going to be more because I'm definitely going to continue on with this series. And honestly, I'd continue on and read more of Killeen's books because I do tend to cringe a little just picking up a book knowing it's a female protagonist written by a male author, but he did a really good job here. Overall, this was just wonderful. Really high 4-star rating, just highly, highly recommend this book. I thought it was fantastic, and I think a lot of people would really enjoy this book as well. Let me know down below if you've read Orphan Monster Spy and what you thought of it if you have, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all again soon.